Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Week 11 edition of the Maddog and Pino NFL Review. I think we are going to rebrand ourselves, but AKA or FKA, I guess, the NFL wrap-up show with Maddog and Pino. How you doing today, Pino?
Pino's doing good. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Happy to have our very special guest host in the hizzy
Long time
for
listener,
Thanksgiving
first
week.
time guest, little
Long
nervous,
first
little
time, long
nervous.
time. I was worried about FKA. It took me a second to figure that out.
Formerly known as.
Right, there we go.
You guys know.
We're like X, formerly known as Twitter.
So as Pino pointed out, this is a Thanksgiving Day special. So we're one day late, one day early, depending on how you look at it. So, and as Pino pointed out, we have family in from out of town. So he's going to have to join us and bear with us for the next hour or so and chime in where it makes sense. And
You guys can sit back and relax when we start talking about the Raiders.
I was going to say they'll typically be the Raiders.
And this will be helpful because Madpup gives us the critiques after the fact. Now you're going to be able to have us make adjustments right on the fly here. So this should improve the quality of this broadcast. There ain't no doubt.
So as usual, I got some opening remarks. One of which is, we're a day away from 3 divisional games. So I thought just to spice it up a little bit, Thanksgiving spice, Pumpkin Day spice, whatever you want to say, that we'd, see what people's picks are for tomorrow along the way. But anyway, those will be the Thanksgiving Day games, and we'll get to those as the podcast proceeds here. But my overarching comments, and this is just, one's just a continuing theme. Like the defense is like the NFL wants there to be pinball games every game, I think, and it's going the opposite direction. Like this weekend, and I should keep a regular tally of this, and pretty much have in the last few podcasts. 15 teams, so almost half the league scored 20 points or less, including when we'll get to the game, but including Kansas City and Philadelphia, which you thought was a shootout because last year's Super Bowl scored 65 points. But that turned out not to be the case. And then I was like kind of shocked at how many quarterbacks threw for less than 200 yards this week. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 quarterbacks that threw for less than 200 yards in the game. That is the pinball wizard that Roger Goodell is looking for, I think.
Tommy DeVito wasn't on that list.
I was going to say there were some surprises that weren't on the list, and there were some surprises that were on the list.
Hey, G-Man didn't contribute to that lack of scoring.
That's for sure. But anyway, just something to keep an eye on. And now the weather's getting worse, so so far I think it's the NFL is averaging 42.9 points a game. That's directionally correct. You can check my math, but it's the lowest scoring since 2009 that holds up. So definitely kind of some interesting things going on in the league. And then this week was this past few weeks. It's like the change season. So your Raiders, you did the first change. They pulled out of the Josh McDaniels experiment.
Got AP in the house.
Put AP in the house, and that change worked out well for them. They won their first 2 games, and they actually played pretty tough in this game. So check mark on change being good for them. And then
changes.
As soon as I said change, I thought you were going to chime in with that, man.
Don't want to be a richer man. Times may change me, but I can't change time. All right, sorry to interrupt.
No. I was expecting it earlier, to be honest. And then the Bills changed their offensive coordinator. They fired Ken Dorsey.
Changes. Is that okay?
And at least for 1 week, they put up a bunch of points against a really good Jets defense, and we'll talk about that in the games as well. But check mark for them; their change worked out, and that's led into 2 changes that happened since the weekend. The first is Zach Wilson has been not only benched by the Jets, he's been demoted to 3rd string.
He's practice squad guy now, right?
So question mark is whether that change is gonna be effective, but it kind of can't be any worse. They literally didn't score a touchdown for 40 consecutive drives.
Right?
Like, how does your offense get any worse?
Like you talk about a roller coaster for a guy, right? Like he was going to get cut. Then Rodgers showed up and took him under the wing. He's going to be a mentor, and they were best friends. He was going to learn a lot. He matured. Then Rodgers goes down, right? And, right, and then he comes in, and now he'll never play for that team again.
It's looking very, very unlikely. And then the change yesterday that was near and dear to my heart. The Steelers finally woke up after 2.5 years and fired Matt Canada. And I was going to say there's a question mark as to whether this was a good change or not, but honestly, it can't get any worse. This is definitely a positive change, and I can talk about that when we get to the Steelers game. But we Steeler fans, Tank included, Tank was here yesterday. He was very excited. We're very excited about having anyone but Matt Canada be calling plays in Pittsburgh.
I think they changed the song in Pittsburgh from "We're from the town with the great football team." Next game they're gonna say just because he's gone, and the only words I know of that "Oh Canada" song is "glorious" and "free." Free being the key word.
Yes.
So I think they're gonna start the next game at Heinz Field or whatever the fuck it's called now. Oh Canada, glorious and free.
You know what?
No longer part of thee, or some shit like that.
You know what? Tank and I talk about this all the time, but and I'm sure it's kind of sport in every town, NFL town, but we just always want to fire our NFL coordinator, our offensive coordinator, and now we're just going to be saying fire Mike Sullivan. So I mean, it's going to be just transitioning.
Who's Mike Sullivan? He's
kind of our new coordinator. They're sharing duties. It's like some weird.
You know, in that locker room, they're going to call him Sully, right? I don't have any inside information, but he's got to be Sully. Sully Sullivan, OC.
All right, so that's all I had for opening remarks. The other one of you guys want to add something before we get into the games?
Well, I have a couple.
Yeah, shocking.
So I've been commenting for a couple of weeks on Herb Street and the eyes, and look at the eyes downfield and hold them with the eyes. He's a fucking ophthalmologist. And so just for shits and giggles, and I know I missed them all because I fell asleep during the second quarter on last Thursday night's game. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I got at least 7 references to keeps his eyes downfield. Within 20 seconds, he had trust your eyes on the ball. He had brings to the table. He's a big cliche guy, brings to the table. See his eyes and how uncomfortable he is. Puts his eyes back to the quarterback and loses the ball. He's a fucking, I think they should change the Prime Video broadcast and they should have John Cusack or Herb Street dressed as John Cusack with the big boombox on his shoulder, and instead of Clarissa Thompson or whoever the sideline report is, they could have Ione Skye. I think she was the one who was in that movie with him.
Okay.
You know, in your eyes, the light, the heat. That's how they should kick off every game.
You went deep for that one.
I know. That's how they should kick off every game. So Herb Street, Herbie, the ophthalmologist, is a trip. My Dr. Lori Clark closed without getting me my contacts this week. She closed for the week. Could I call Herbie at Prime Video and get a overnight delivery?
Might be able to.
Plus 2.5, brother, on the right contact. What about the Clarissa Thompson controversy on making up the sideline reports?
I was gonna bring that up as well.
And the outcry about that. But I have no issue with it because what do they tell? Hey, we need to get off the field. We need to execute on third down. Hey, we need to execute in the red zone. I don't think you're making anything up.
Honestly, I thought it was kind of refreshing, to be honest, because half the time they are at the very least paraphrasing. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're not really word for word saying what the coach said if they did talk to him. Anyway, so yeah, but there are a lot of reporters, and the media is under pressure as it is, and now you think it's all gonna be fake news. There's a lot of people coming out of the woodworks on that one.
Yeah, that's truly fake news. I'm surprised Trump didn't on True Social didn't weigh in on that. I'm surprised he didn't hire Clarissa Thompson to be his press secretary for the campaign.
Wait a minute.
Well, I'm getting into the political realm. That just take that back. One other thing I had that I could throw into the opening comments, and so I read this guy every Thursday, Phil Mushnick, in the New York Post. He's a crotchety old TV report, just fucking negative about it, all the coverage that we get. He's like, this is bullshit, there's miscreants, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
One of his readers, I don't know what game this was in, and I'm so bummed and I wish I wrote down the reader's name, but sent it a picture. There were 2 Colts offensive linemen. One was named literally on the back of the jersey. One guy was named French. The other guy was named Fries. I'm not bullshitting.
They went up together.
Look it up.
I gotta go look that one up, man.
I'm like, man, I thought I could pick out some crazy shit watching a football game. I didn't see that. Well, it was probably in the dome, so I didn't see the game.
Probably right. Oh man.
All right, that's all I had.
You got anything, Mike?
Yeah, I got one opening comment.
Yeah,
that's where I got to watch the games with these 2 guys right here, and we were excited to see the Jardians commercial. We were paying more attention to the commercials than we did during the Super Bowl, but it did not show, Mike.
That's a great teaser. That's a great call out, Pup, because that should be an open comment. Like, what happened that a week before, honestly, that's all we saw.
Honestly, I think they listened to our podcast and said, you know what, you were right. It's not the right target audience.
Did the networks get involved? Like, how many cease and desist letters are we going to send out about stealing our shit? Or either that or everyone's A1C is under control. Because we're all dancing on the fountain. I don't know. But, yeah, like, we were waiting all day for the Jardians.
We were paying attention.
Yeah. I just wanted to see that dance because I'm trying to learn those steps. I mean, tonight's wildest night of the year, night before Thanksgiving. I want to go break that out.
All right, let's get into the games. The game of the week, by all accounts, was the Monday night game. It was the Eagles and KC in a rematch of Super Bowl, whatever it was last year, 57, I think. And the Eagles won 21-17. I think that was the score. 21-17. So it was a rainy mess. So that's one of the reasons each of these quarterbacks threw for less than 200 yards, going back to the opening comments. It was kind of the opposite of the Super Bowl because KC ran out to a 10-point lead at halftime, the same as Philadelphia did last year in the Super Bowl, and then flip-flopped it, and Philadelphia came all the way back. So this game wasn't about the offenses the way last year's Super Bowl was. It was all about the defense. KC's defense was dominant in the first half, and really dominant the whole game. I think they had 6 sacks on Hurts or something like that.
Yeah.
And really, really outplayed Philadelphia for most of the game, and then the KC, which we've talked about this. They don't have a wide receiver since Tyreek Hill left, and last year they won the Super Bowl without him. So maybe they just thought they didn't need that to win, but
we don't need no cheetah.
But last night or Monday night, it was clear that they certainly did. I mean, they had 3 really big. Well, they had 5 drops total. They lead the NFL in drops with 26 or something like that, including 2 on the last drive, one of which should have been a touchdown, and the other one should have picked up 4th and 25. So,
that touchdown drop was that had to be one of the worst drops I've ever seen.
So there was.
It was like Mahomes ran down and handed it off to him, and he still dropped it.
Throw.
I was speaking to the defenses, but how does that guy get? How does MVS get behind the Philadelphia defense on that play? But you know what? Gutty win for Philadelphia on the road, hostile environment, all that other shit. And they were down by 10 points against the Super Bowl champs and pulled it out. So
big turnover by Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is he distracted?
Yeah.
Because it came out he talked about retirement earlier in the week. He's on every fucking commercial, him and his brother with the podcast.
Retirement?
Yeah. There was apparently a Wall Street Journal magazine story where he said he thinks about retirement all the time with the pain from all the surgeries, and he's closer than he's ever been to retiring.
Well, yeah, of course, he's 35 years old,
right? But is she going to be there, or he on the off week he was in where fucking Argentina or some South America country, when you have a fumble, he probably fumbles only once a year. Maybe this is his fumble, but when you're running around and you're in every fucking commercial, beside the one next, he's going to show up with the Jardians lady, and they're going to be making out as they get their A1C readings. He's like, "Fuck Taylor Swift! I got this girl wearing the tent. Look at her in that yellow dress. It's pretty hot, ain't it?" But you're going to open yourself up to are you distracted? Is that why you fumbled? He didn't. I mean, he didn't have a big game.
No, he didn't. And he did fumble. Anyway, so but the Chiefs are so locked in as the number 1 seed in the AFC. It's not even funny, and the Eagles probably are too. So it's hard not to say this is a highly likely, at the very least, Super Bowl prelude. Eagles took it.
And they had a tush push in this game.
They had a tush.
They gained 5 yards on that.
Yeah, they almost hit the goal post.
I know, seriously. I mean, Jalen Hurts almost got a concussion. It was thank God we got padding on the upright or the whatever the stand. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. All right, so as most of you know, that listened this season, I'm trying to organize the games a little bit instead of just do the Steelers first. So anyway. So the next games are all around the Thanksgiving theme. These are teams that are going to be playing next weekend and the games they had this weekend. So every time.
What do you mean teams playing next weekend? Like the teams get eliminated?
No, playing Thursday night.
The Thursday Thanksgiving games.
Playing
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah, so, sorry, that wasn't very clear. Thanks for pointing that out.
That's right.
Anyway, so when you think of Thanksgiving, you think of the Lions, right? They're the first game. They've been playing their.
I think of Lawrence Taylor going 97 yards against the Lions with a pick six in his rookie year. When I think of Thanksgiving,
Sean thinks of losing money. Always bets the Lions.
Yeah, exactly. I always bet the Lions.
What's the turkey chicken that Madden
the Trudeaugal or something?
Yeah, the Churkle. No, that's Urkel. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
it's chicken and turkey, I think, or duck and turkey.
No, it's just a turkey. They just put a bunch of legs on it. Anyway.
No, it's not chicken in it. It's duck in it. It's duck and turkey.
All right. Whatever. It just has a lot of extra legs.
We'll have to get our crack production. Where's the producer? Get on that. Google that shit.
Anyway, so last weekend the Lions played the Bears 26. Bears 26 at the Lions 31. This was not a good game for the Lions, even though they pulled it out. Jared Goff threw 3 interceptions, I think all of which were in the first half. Fields had kind of a Fields game. I think he threw for almost as many yards as he ran for, but all of that, they were up 26-14 in the fourth quarter. And then, of course, it turned into the Bears. Lions came roaring back. They won the game. The Lions are now 8-2. Bears fall to 3-8. And the Lions host the Packers next week for Thanksgiving. But this is a gritty win for the Lions. I mean, they had no business winning this game, and they actually are playing like a team that could win the Super Bowl. I mean, they obviously didn't for 3 quarters, but that's
a sign of a good team, though.
That's what I mean. So
right?
It's a really gritty win for them, and I'm just saying, we've been talking about the Lions maybe since week 1 or 2, or maybe since the preseason. No one gives Jared Goff credit. Probably didn't deserve credit this weekend. But until bringing the team back, obviously, not playing his best game, and the Lions are something to be reckoned with. Anyway, so you guys, anything on that game you want to add?
Just they're a reflection of their coach and his hard-nosed attitude and never say die, right?
He's got the locker room.
Yeah, he's won that locker. That's why I wouldn't be so fast to jump out. Like, yeah, I get the Eagles probably are the odds-on favorite to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, but you can't count them out.
No,
Detroit, especially with Kid Rock. He'd be fired up. Him and Eminem be fired up. Be doing a halftime show like
him
a
and Dana White. All right. So the Lions play the Packers obviously at home on Thursday. Packers played the Chargers last weekend. Chargers 20 at the Packers 23. And I can't believe we're talking about change at the outset. I can't believe Brandon Staley still has a job, but anyway, in part because of his defense. I mean, Jordan Love, of all people, threw for 322 yards against them, had like a late fourth quarter touchdown pass. And again, he just continues to waste Justin Herbert. Keenan Allen had another 100-yard game with another couple touchdowns. Or maybe it was only one this time, but he has that like almost every week. It's just, I just can't, like, if you're an LA Chargers fan, it's still hard for me to say, but if you're an LA Chargers fan, like, haven't you had enough at this point? Like, you're losing the teams you should beat, and it's usually because of your defense, and you're supposedly have a defensive coach and the highest paid defense in the league.
Yeah, and they don't seem to and they don't get to stop when they need to get to stop, right? They lost to, they let a comeback. Jordan Love lead the comeback against, and again, but Bosa's hurt. As I think I said 2 weeks ago, doesn't it seem like the Bosas are always hurt?
one of them is.
Despite the fact that it's well known how crazy their workouts are and this, that, and the other thing, they're always hurt. And I think the Chargers Bosa, even though he got hurt, I think he's going on IR.
I think he is going on IR because of a foot injury. Anyway, so the Lions are, as I said, playing at home against the Packers tomorrow morning. Lions are favored by 7.5. Who you got, Mike? Pino.
Lions play, and they're playing. This is a dome game, right? But I'll watch it because it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly.
They're playing the Packers.
They're playing the Packers minus 7.5. They got to win by 8.
I'll take Green Bay.
Right.
I think the Lions will win the game, but I doubt they cover.
Mike knows this. Not this Mike. This Mike knows this. Not to be in.
You just call me Pino.
Not to be.
When did I become Mike again?
Exactly. I don't know.
What are we back?
I'm very confused.
What are we back at? Are we back at Grandview Playground with Kaylee and Josie in second grade? Oh, hi, Sean. Nice to meet you. Well, I like football too.
Anyway,
are you interested in softball?
You never been.
Have you ever podcasted?
You never be gonna bet against the Lions on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I like Vegas too.
And I'm gonna stick with that. I'm taking the Lions. How about you?
Lions. Oh,
You're giving the 7.5.
7. Yeah, I think. It's gonna be.
They win by 12.
Okay.
All right. The other team that you think about on Thanksgiving is obviously the Cowboys. They haven't played as long as the Lions have, but pretty close. I don't know how many years that is, but it's more than 50 or maybe 50, something like that. Anyway, they played the Panthers this past weekend. At the Panthers, 33-10 they won. This game was actually closer than it looked. It was 17-10 in the fourth quarter. And then the Cowboys just pulled away. And it wasn't Dak Prescott for a change. He didn't have a bad game, but he only threw for like 170 yards or something. Again, another quarterback that threw for less than 200 yards. But this guy, Deron Bland, who I don't even think
he was some highlights.
Exactly. No, but this is important to mention. I don't even think he was starting at the beginning of the year, but then Diggs got hurt. So then he stepped in.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He stepped in, and he had his 4th pick 6.
He's got more touchdowns than a lot of receivers
He's
in
got
the NFL.
He's got more touchdowns than the Steelers offense has.
Yeah, he's got 4 pick 6s this year.
So shout out to Deron. And he says he's going to break the record. He's got like 6 more games to do it.
What is the record?
Yeah, he's tied for it.
Oh, he just needs one more?
He needs one more.
Oh, man, he wishes he played the Giants again. He fucking blow that record to smithereens.
And I didn't even write anything down about the Panthers. I mean, I guess it's a moral victory that they kept it close for a while. But, I mean, there's a lot of noise about Frank Reich getting fired. I don't think that happens. I think if you hire... They just hired him.
Yeah, they just traded picks to get the...
There's a lot of noise about the owner not being happy, which of course he's not happy.
Yeah, because he's like, why didn't we pick CJ Stroud?
Exactly.
That's what he's pissed off about, right?
So anyway, I didn't write a bunch about the Panthers. And Panthers, I think he gets at least another year. He has the worst roster in the NFL.
Yeah, there's no way he gets fired.
So anyway,
maybe the GM. I have one thing to add on this game. We did learn that like Jarrah, he must be working like with Elon Musk or somebody at SpaceX or whatever. Like he must have invented a time machine because he's putting Jimmy Johnson in the Cowboys Ring of Honor in 1923. December 30th, 1923 is what he said on TV.
I should have mentioned that.
We all fucking need to jump in that time machine.
Exactly.
Is that after the crash or before the crash? Is that the beginning of the Roaring 20s? Like what's happening? Because if it's 1923, I'm gonna go hang with Jarrett and fucking get in on some oil leases with him.
That's hysterical, but so true. All right, so the Cowboys play tomorrow afternoon against the Commanders, and the Giants played the Commanders this past weekend. Giants.
Wait, do we got to pick that game? Do we have to pick
I'm going to get to it after the Commanders.
Okay.
I'm doing it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I got my method. There's method to my madness here. Anyway, the Giants.
I apologize. Sometimes I jump the gun.
Giants 31 at the Commanders 19.
G-Man, Big Lou. Tommy used to work on the dock.
Not anymore.
Now he's quarterback of the football Giants. Yeah, from Cedar Grove. His mama makes a chicken parmigiana. Still makes his bed. All right, enough of
that. Yeah, all right. So Tommy DeVito had 246 yards and 3 touchdowns. Yeah, looked like a real NFL quarterback after not having looked like one for a couple weeks.
I mean, yeah, he did. However, I got to jump in. Like he was sacked 9 times.
Yeah, I was going to get to that.
Yeah, 6 of them were his fault.
Yeah,
like I mean, as bad as that offensive line was, like. It's not Cedar Grove Howard, St. John Bosco in Bergen County, where you just stand back there for 18 seconds before you throw it. It's the NFL. And then you hear at the end of the game, there was no hot water in either shower, apparently. Did you hear that?
No, I did not.
And typical Jersey boy, soprano, like Tommy DeVito, as he's walking to the press conference, he's like, oh, the hair. Like, we didn't have any hot water. Like, he was apologizing that his hair didn't look so great. And I got to get, and one last thing, I get like in nonsensical stuff in this game. I got to give, I did put on primetime. I got to give Boomer credit.
Yeah.
Because when he shows DeVito's first touchdown pass to Barkley, he's like, Tommy DeVito, he's a good fella. That's what we call him. Good fella. He's a good fella.
He's a friend of mine.
Right.
And just to mention it, the other side of the ball, because I actually was singing Sam Howell's praises, I think, last podcast. He threw 3 interceptions. The Commanders had 6 turnovers. So I don't know what happened with your defense this week, but they stepped it up.
Dude, they're 2-0 against the Redskins. Probably in the last 5 years, they might be 10-0. Like, if they didn't play the Redskins, they would. The number 1 pick would be locked up already.
If you played the Redskins and the Cowboys every week, you'd be 8-8.
Right? Exactly.
All right. So tomorrow afternoon, the Commanders play at the Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 12.5. I'll go this direction to Mike first.
I'm all favorites tomorrow. Going Cowboys.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys smoke them too. What do you got?
No, Cowboys boat race teams at home. Like they're going to blow them out. Like, I mean,
yeah, I think so.
12's not 12.5.
12.5.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Pino's with the Carey brothers.
All right.
That's always a good place to be. Except when you come over and you're watching the games and they're like, "Hey, do we chase it at halftime? What do we do?"
All right. So the late game on tomorrow night is the 49ers and the Seahawks. So let's go to the 49ers.
Damn, I didn't even realize that was the game. Like, I was just thinking like the Black Friday game. I forgot that we get 3 games tomorrow.
So the Bucks 14 at the 49ers 27. It just like this. I wrote down 49ers are healthy. They dominate. Like it's almost like it's a guarantee. Purdy was perfect, had a perfect passer rating, 333 yards and 3 touchdowns. Bucks are fading fast, and their defense is not up to snuff. I mean, it just never, like, you have this picture of the Bucks defense because of the Super Bowl a few years ago being so good. They're just not good anymore. And Baker still continues to play okay, but not good enough to really, overcome their defense. Anyway, that's what do you guys think about that game? Anything?
Who's playing? I think Devo. Whoa. What's the spread on it?
We haven't even gotten there.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
All right.
Oh, we're still talking about the Niners game.
Yeah,
I don't have a lot to add on it, other than they seem to like they dominated.
What's that?
They dominated. Like, Purdy played well, played like that quote-unquote MVP for him because they were all back, right?
He said he still feels like he has something to prove. And I'm like, he probably is always going to feel that way. He was the last guy drafted.
Right. But at least fucking that piece of shit Christian McCaffrey got off the schneid and scored a touchdown.
Exactly. Oh, man. All right. Next game, Seahawks 16 at the Rams 17. It kind of was a boring game, but you got to give Matt Stafford a ton of credit because he's been playing through injuries all year. And they tried to run this flea flicker, and I think it was like in the 3rd quarter.
Oh, man.
And he literally got murdered. I'm like, there's no way this guy's coming back from that. And they were trailing by 9 at the time. And not only did he come back, he led them back to a win, like inexplicably. Like, and even he did, and McVay certainly did. Really gave it up to defense. The defense like got them off the field every time they got the 3rd down, practically. So the Rams, I think they're just going to play spoiler. They're obviously not going to sneak into the playoffs, but if he gets healthy, Stafford does. They're going to beat some teams. They might beat the 49ers. I don't know if they play them again, but they could step up in class and beat.
Yeah, they could. Like, they'll pull an upset, and they got Cuckoo Kachu, the receiver, right? Billy Shears, what would you do if I sang out of tune? Cuckoo Kachu. Yeah, man, it was good. Our defense stepped up. Man, it was a team effort. I got a new baby. I can't wait for Thanksgiving. I can't believe we got to play a game Thanksgiving night.
All right, so the last game tomorrow night is the 49ers at the Seahawks. 49ers are favored by 7.5. I'll go first on this one. I just have a weird feeling the Seahawks are going to, at the very least, keep it close at home, and probably not win the game. But I think it's going to be closer than 7.5. So I'm actually going Seahawks in this game.
Where's that game?
It's in Seattle.
12th man.
I have to go underdog. I'm going to switch it up. Go underdog here.
Didn't you just say you're going all favorites? Totally fucking me up. Like, I thought I had my pick in. Now you both screwed me up, and I want to try and be a contrarian.
You got to wear the lone.
Right. I'm going to take the 49ers just because I like Fred Warner. I like watching him. But how many points is it?
7.5.
Yeah, I'll take the Niners.
You're probably right, but I don't know what the hell. All right, so now I'll go into the teams that had their changes.
Changing and face the changes. Don't want to be a richer man.
And I will start with my Steelers. Steelers 10 at the Browns 13. Before some midweek after Thursday.
Did they wear face masks in this game, or were they just in leather helmets? And were you allowed to throw the ball?
Not much. The Browns. It turns out the Browns turned DTR loose for 45 passes, but I'll get into that in a second. So the Steelers, everything was setting up great for them. They were 6-3. Doesn't matter how they were winning, but they were 6-3. Joe Burrow gets hurt on Thursday night, so they have to play the Bengals twice. Deshaun Watson gets hurt on Tuesday or whatever before the game, or gets officially called out.
And then Lamar will get hurt.
Yeah,
because he usually does in December.
So division's wide open,
teed up nicely for
opening up very nicely. And so, and of course, in my mind, I'm like, I know they're going to lay an egg at least in one of those games, and it turned out to be Sunday. In large part because of the offense. I mean, the defense. Listen, they let up 13 points. You should win a game in the NFL letting up 13 points. There was some inexplicable offensive calls, and that's why this guy got fired, including we were up. We tied the game 10-10. We get the ball back with 1:45, and we literally had the ball at the 30-yard line, and we've been running the ball against the Browns defense. We've been running the ball really well. He almost said
we had that 75-yard touchdown, right?
And on top, but he had 100 yards outside of that. So we were running the ball well. And instead of let's just get 30 yards, start with a couple run plays, they throw the ball 3 times, 2 of which were not even in the vicinity of a wide receiver. Then punt the ball, give the ball back to a rookie quarterback who, again, threw the ball 45 times. How do they get away with that? So the D can take some responsibility here, but DTR drives him down the field for a game-winning field goal. So, so the Steelers made the change. It was way, way overdue. I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but Kenny Pickett threw 106 yards passing, and he's regressed every game. But before 3 weeks ago it was 169. You're like, well, that sucks, but all right, we got away with it. Then it was 120, and that was 106. You got to do something different, and maybe it's him, but we got to fucking find out.
Hey, don't get crazy. We're not trading Tommy DeVito. So don't fucking, even though the Rooneys and the Maras are close, don't think about making that call.
Garoppolo's available.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my rant on this. And I hope the change works out.
Yeah, they still the whole division. All the quarterbacks are hurt. If they get a little spark, they get a spark. Yeah, I think Najee Harris got him fired, with that press conference. He was pissed after the game, right?
Yeah, he finally just said this shit's got to change. Is basically what he said. I'm paraphrasing.
He's like, we need some changes.
I gotta say, it was very entertaining watching a live Steelers game with Sean again, especially a losing game. It's quite the entertainment.
But I was so mellow. I was so zen about the whole thing for the most part.
It's feng shui.
I'm
your moment.
He's on feng shui. How can't they gain a fucking yard in the passing game? It's amazing. And then, all right, now you got me going again. So, and most of their passes were behind the sticks. They never even throw the ball past the line of scrimmage. It's amazing.
Schedule with that.
So does that mean they're off? Does that mean they're off schedule?
They're off schedule.
It's fucking totally confusing.
Every single play they're off.
That's U.S. history, right? I see the globe. Oh, I know that, dude. I think you know where the front office is, Mr. Spicoli. Hey, you dick! You're ripping my card.
All right, so hopefully the change works out as well as it did for the Raiders, except for this past Sunday. But again, they played tough. Raiders 13 at the Dolphins 20. So unfortunately, Mike had to watch this game on my iPad.
I got demoted to the iPad
because Leslie was watching.
I could have watched it in the theater, but I wouldn't have felt like I was in.
Leslie and Slater, to be fair, it was 2 versus 1. We're watching the Packers game, but anyway, so I didn't watch much of this game, to be honest. But I was amazed. I did bet this game, by the way. I thought the Dolphins were going to blow them out. So I was amazed.
Raiders covered.
I was amazed when it was 20-13. So
yeah, they shut down that cheetah.
So they did.
No, he had 146 yards received.
That's pretty good.
Well, he didn't have 250. He usually gets 250 and 4 touchdowns.
So, anything you want to say about that game?
No, I thought they played well, played tough. had a chance to. It kind of reminded me of the last playoff game the Raiders won with the Bengals. They had a chance at the end,
right,
an interception in the end zone.
Right.
Yeah. When was that?
But
that was a few years ago.
This O'Connell kid's playing pretty well, though. I mean,
yeah, I like him.
He's still trying to masquerade as David Carr.
Pick. You never know.
We're in number 4 with the mustache.
With the mustache, you have no idea. If he gets a buzz cut, look out, man.
Jerry O'Connell's brother. What a talented family.
All right, so the Jets, who are also making a change, they played at the Bills. Jets 6 at the Bills 32.
Not that close.
Yeah, not that close. As it turns out. You know, I watched this game after a very, very long weekend, so I don't really remember much of it.
Yeah, I will say, like, going back to that, like, Madpup having to watch the Raiders on the tablet. So I showed up. I was late. I said, "Yeah, I'll come over." And, hey, we're watching games. Pup's in town. So I got here for the second half, and I was like, "Whoa, has anyone in this goddamn joint slept yet?" People were watching games on iPhones and tablets. All right, I'm just gonna blend right into this motherfucker. All right, so we're on the Jets game.
Jets Bills, yes. So, as I mentioned earlier, the Jets literally did not score a touchdown in 40 consecutive offensive drives. Like you'd almost have to try to do that at some level. I'm like, it's just amazing to me. So, obviously, Zach Wilson something had to give. But you know who I want to blame? I want to blame Nathaniel Hawthorne.
Right. I mean,
because his offense last year didn't look that different with Russell Wilson doing this. You know
they should make him walk around that facility with that Scarlet A that he wrote about back in the Disney. And of all, like, that's the change that needed to be made. And so it's interesting. A couple things in the Jets, like Tim Boyle, right? Is that the guy who's going to start now?
That is the guy who's going to start.
He's apparently Rodgers' boy from Green Bay. Like, he backed him up in Green Bay. Oh. Nate Hackett, Rodgers' boy.
Oh, yeah.
Randall Cobb, Rodgers' boy. Who's the other receiver? Lazard. I was going to call him Lazarus, but he hasn't risen from the dead yet.
No, not yet.
His boy. Then they're floating rumors like, oh, hey, we're going to call the Raiders about Devontae Adams after the season.
Apparently they did it to trade them.
Right, but they're going to do it again.
Yeah.
Like, he's running that show running it right into the fucking ground.
He is the GM.
You know?
So speaking of Rodgers, that's the other news that came out this week. Is like he thinks he's going to be practicing in 2 weeks. So good for him. But like what I went to is like, why the fuck would he want to? Don't you at this point just take the year off? I'm like, okay.
Seriously, like at 40 years old, like you're going to break a record for coming back from a torn Achilles.
Exactly. Like,
what are the odds of it getting torn again and you never playing?
Exactly. When the Jets are 5-9 and out of the playoff race, you're going to fucking come back.
And Nate Hackett, your offensive coordinator. Oh wait, that's his boy. Maybe they're writing a new book. And they're going to call it the purple letter, you know, like, and Rodgers is going to bring it up to date with like cucumba or whatever that shit, you know, mushrooms and all that kind of, you know, darkness retreats are going to be in there. And she's still going to be a hooer and have to wear that letter. But you know what? So why the Jets had to finally had to make the switch, right? They had to do something relative to Zach Wilson. And now we're never going to see his cougar mom anymore, that blonde from Utah, right? Because wasn't he dating cougars?
He was
at the beginning of the year.
I thought he was dating someone from Manhattan Beach.
Oh, he was?
I thought he was.
Then of course he's dating a cougar. There's no way. I don't have that info. But so you guys
You're the one who told me that.
You guys may have missed this on the. He was coming out on the field in the second. You know, the game was over, jogging out on the field, and it was almost like Saleh probably said, like, "Hey Zach, we're gonna go Omaha 26 wide right," and like, so he's running with his back to the sideline, and then he turned around like to kind of get the call or whatever somebody was yelling at him, and then just fell on his ass.
Really?
Yeah, and you got to look it up. It's great. I think that ultimately did him in.
Did you get to research on this consecutive drive thing?
I did not, but it's got to be a record. I mean, there's no way.
How many drives do you get a game on average?
Like 8.
So it's like 6 games in.
Yeah, I think like the Giants were neck and neck with them.
The Jets probably get like 5 offensive drives a game. That's part of the problem too.
But he went over backwards. It was great. They literally just on his ass, and other offensive dudes are running into the huddle, just like literally like looking at like, what the fuck? Where's Tim Boyle?
Get a delay game.
Oh man. All right, there's only one game we didn't talk about this weekend, from this past weekend. The Vikings 20 at the Broncos 21. This game was, I mean, like the intersection of two teams kind of going in the same direction, right? So I guess it's not an intersection. But,
wow.
But anyway, no, the Vikings have won 4 straight. They both have won 4 straight, I think. And like now the Broncos, who won 21-20, they have the longest consecutive win streak in the NFL. Is that fucking crazy? They've won 5 games.
Yeah, I apologized last week to Sean. I was going to say Sean Payton and Russell. Like done a job.
They're giving up 7.
Yeah,
he beat the Pastronaut.
He did beat the Pastronaut.
So, but did you see like the Pastronaut's dad and mom?
Yeah,
in the suite.
We did. Yeah,
I think the Pastronaut's dad is getting chemo also. They look, or they have alopecia. Like they both look exactly like he look. Clearly that's he's his father's son.
Yes. The apple didn't fart.
Other than he's a little taller, it looks like.
With a better
his
arm.
Dad doesn't look. Yeah.
So, I know he's not going to be at the head of the NFL coaching interview thing, but Brian Flores deserves some credit. All right. So he took over this defense who literally sucked. They were so bad last year. And he just decided to blitz on basically every down, and it's working. Like his defense is really like played lights out. That's the reason mostly that they've been able to weather Kirk Cousins going down, Justin Jefferson going down. They held the Broncos to 5 field goals before they finally scored a touchdown. And
their touchdowns were just kind of like, I mean, I give credit to Peyton, and I was bummed because the whole game I watched, I expected Peyton to throw those Mad Dog peepers on in the fourth quarter, the clear ones, but he didn't. Like he went the whole game without the eyeglasses. I was like, what the fuck? He must change his contacts. Yeah, his oak tag got bigger. I was like, yeah, they're gonna be. I know what play they're running. I can read it. I don't have to be that. I don't need that kid from Michigan stealing the signals. I'll just read his play card.
And listen, we'd be remiss not to mention Josh Dobbs. You did mention him, but in all seriousness, the guy just like keeps playing way above his head, and maybe he just had a higher ceiling than people thought. But he had a passing TD and a rushing TD for the 3rd straight game. He like played tough. The Broncos' defense is actually starting to play well as well. And it was on the road, hostile environment, blah, blah, blah. But Josh Dobbs is like, I mean, he's played himself into real money. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be like a NFL, a starting like 5-year guarantee guy, but he's going to be like the highest backup money you can pay.
Considering some of the backups you see being run out here now.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I mean, exactly. He will be
Steelers going after him.
Well, that would be admitting a mistake.
That'll come full circle. The process is the standard is the standard.
So that's all we got in games. I actually did have one more comment that I wanted to throw it out to you guys that I meant to mention at the beginning. So this year we're more than halfway past the halfway pull or whatever you want to say, and the MVP starts like coming into view usually, and I don't think it's even come close to getting in view. So here's a couple of stats for you. The last defensive player to win it was LT, which is 1980.
Lawrence Taylor,
1980.
number 56.
1986.
Number 56, Lawrence Taylor. Number 56.
This
is Bob Shepard.
The last non-quarterback to win it was Adrian Peterson. That was 2015, I think. A wide receiver has never won the MVP, and a rookie has never won the MVP. So, at this point in the season, unless they're just going to hand it to Mahomes again, but
I don't think so.
Statistically, it's like I don't know why you would do that, right? Then who wins it? Like, so the best quarterback statistically is probably C.J. Stroud. He's a rookie. A wide receiver has never won it, but you could make an argument for Tyreek Hill. And in this season, maybe you can make an argument for a defensive player like T.J. Watt or Myles Garrett or someone like that. So I guess my question for you guys is like, voting today, who would you vote for as MVP?
Let's start with our guest.
I was going
to. I'm going to plagiarize your picks.
I don't know. I really don't have an opinion on that. I'm good at voting for MVP. And don't have a
It's
vote,
too early.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, I just thought we had time to kill. So
I would say I think Myles Garrett.
I would like to see someone other than quarterback, especially Mahomes. I would love to see
that. I don't think there's any way Mahomes wins it.
No,
they do their record. They're kind of middling. I think if a quarterback wins it and Houston still keeps playing the way they're playing.
Yeah, it'd be hard to argue with like that. Statistically, he's played out of.
They better just put it like
he's played into the conversation. You and I talked about that a few times.
He better wear like an Oilers jersey to the, no Dante Pastorini jersey to the.
That would confuse the hell out of me.
I'd be like, well, what the? Where's fucking Bum Phillips again? I'd be Earl Campbell.
All right, well, that's all I have.
Oh wait, where have I been? Did we talk about the Bengals and Ravens game?
Oh no, we didn't.
We are so bad on the Thursday games. The Thursday games were hard. Like it's as if they took place a year and a half ago.
I don't know if I even wrote that shit down. All right, let's talk about the Bengals Ravens game.
I only just because I had a couple comments that I wanted to make about it, and I was like, wait, did I miss my opportunity to slide some of this shit in there?
I think I wrote something down there, but anyway, Bengals lost 20-34.
That was the Herb Street game with all the eyes. I probably should have mentioned that. Like that's the ophthalmologist game. That's why I forgot about it.
Anyway, Bengals lost Joe Burrow. He probably had a wrist injury before the game, and they're going to get in trouble for that. But he's now out for the season, and they're kind of fucked.
And so what's interesting? Like I don't know what you think, but it always seems to me whenever Bengal game I've watched. Whenever they go to the sideline, Joe Burrow is sitting by himself. Like, and he's really not talking to anybody. I don't know that he's talking to coaches. And it was that way even before he got hurt in that Thursday night game. And all I thought of looking at him sitting there by himself was, Joe Pesci's mom could have walked onto the sideline. She would have been like, you don't talk so much, Henry. What's wrong with you? You don't talk so much. You want to see my paintings? Hey, this one dog goes one way, one dog goes this guy's like, what the fuck you want from me? What do you want from me? And then I also want to know the other thing, and I can't even. Well, the Ravens won that game, right?
Yeah, they did. Win the game, yes.
34-20. What is with the fake brick motif that they hang on the wall around the stadium in Baltimore?
I couldn't tell you. Like, but I mean, you gotta. I mean.
You know what I'm talking about?
First of all, did you know that Baltimore was the Crescent City? Like, I've never heard that bullshit. And I'm like, what does that even mean?
No, I didn't know that.
Crescent City. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I thought it was home of the O's. But like, they got like this plastic wrap, the wall, like from the field level up to like the first row, right? So they got all around the stadium, they got this plastic wrap that's like purple, like bricks, as if it's a castle or some shit. It reminds me of like in Tampa Bay with the with all the fake, they ripped off the Girella's Guerrillas and Franco's Italian Army. Who's the general manager of the 49ers? Oh, no, not him, but they had in Tampa Bay, they had like All Stars Army and all this other made up kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, hey, if you wanted to make it look like a castle with some bricks, make that fucking wall out of bricks, man.
They do it. Comment that I love Pino's deep dive into observation. There's always it's some good stuff.
I mean, they got bricks at Wrigley Field. Put some fucking ivy over it during the off season if it'll offend somebody. And then the wrap around the stanchion? It's not the upright. And it's not the crossbar.
Yeah, the stanchion.
The stanchion, is that what it is?
You did. Yeah, that's amazing.
Check out the big brain on Brad. Now we know where to find that one.
Exactly.
All right. Tammy, that's timestamp. But even around the stanchion, they have like a little layer of the fake purple brick.
They do?
Just kind of look for it next time.
I'm gonna have to pay attention next time.
Eyes wide open.
Yeah. Eyes wide shut. You have no idea.
All right. What else you guys got? Anything? Can we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think so.
Go drink and start watching. Get ready to eat and watch.
Let's go. It's the night before Thanksgiving. Wildest night of the year.
I would like to just say something. I give these guys big props for this. Literally, what started on your roof deck how many years ago?
Yeah, well, yeah.
These two just going off, and all of us laughing around them, and they said, "Hey, let's do a podcast." And they put a lot of time and effort into this. I listen religiously, and I think they do a great job, and they're getting better and better. I just want to.
Oh, thank you, Pup. You're a good man.
You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, look at that. And as you can see now, look at we got equipment. We got this horse.
I know.
Because we don't have we should address the horse.
Yeah, we should address the horse.
So for those of you thinking what the fuck's up with the horse? And I don't even know who's riding the horse. It must be like Planet of the Apes or something.
Yeah, that's Planet of the Apes.
Oh shit! Okay, I forgot you're a movie guy.
Maddog and Pino. And hit subscribe, please.
Yes, don't forget that once we relaunch. But we have to have that because we got a bad adapter for the headphones. So we're still working through some shit here.
Despite all the cords you see, we still don't have a connector.
But thank you for those kind words, Madpup.
You're welcome. Well deserved.
All right, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Let us be the first to wish you a happy holidays, and we will talk to you next week.
Yeah, and let's see if we get Jardians back this week. Because I know after Thanksgiving, your A1Cs.
On Thanksgiving, they'll definitely have.
Does anyone know what your A1C is? Anyone? What is that? Diabetes?
Yeah. You would have. All right.